Winter is coming. There, I finally said it. Which means that it's time for all of my seasonal videos, all the books that I DNF'd, hauled, I don't know, upcoming releases I'm excited about. It's time for my seasonal videos. Today we are talking about all the books that I have received in the month of, in the season of fall. So, these are all books that were sent to me by you guys, as well as all of these, and then these are my self-pub books that were sent to me by authors. I also have 2 books sent to me by publishers. So I actually have already unboxed and showed every single one of these because in my reading vlog, every week I start with a mail time unboxing thing where I show every book that I received in the mail. So all of these books have already been discussed, so I'm gonna try to keep it short and sweet. Also, I'm gonna need my glasses for this. Fun fact, I don't wear contacts. I just take my glasses off to film sometimes. But first, a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Squarespace. Whether you're building your website, creating online stores, marketing, analytics, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that makes it really easy. But we'll talk more about them in a minute. So these are in no particular order. I just grabbed the books that were sitting there and put them on my shelf. Chest Story is a classic that was sent to me by one of my subscribers recently, actually. The major subject in this book was human limitation. Above all, the ways in which the best of intentions can lead people into the murkiest of emotional and mortal cul-de-sacs. And yet the author also hoped to illuminate those dark places of the heart and mind to show that it is not, finally, impossible to attain a true perspective on our limitations, even to care for each other. Okay, that actually sounds amazing. These little bitty classics I'm gonna try to make a priority in the new year because they're cute and I think they'd be fun to get through. This is another one that was sent really recently. It's called Witch Week, and I guess, okay, so this is actually by the same author who wrote Howl's Moving Castle, which I read recently and loved. And I guess it's about a school for orphans, and magic is strictly forbidden, but it keeps slipping in somehow. It sounds really cute. Another classic sent to me by a subscriber, The Never-Ending Story. I've never read it. It's about, I think it's about a boy who loves reading and then ends up getting sucked into a story and becomes a character in the book. Pretty much everybody's dream. This is very, very high on my TBR. The Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King. I believe this is about a king who is murdered through some strange poison, and his son is decided to be the murderer, so he's imprisoned, but the son didn't do it, and he knows who did, and he's the only one that can save his people. Probably. It involves dragons. One of my subscribers is a huge King fan, and so she sent me 3 King books, I think, so they're scattered amongst the crowd, which is really exciting because I am brand new to King's works, so having books that someone has recommended to me is very helpful. The Belgrade is maybe how you pronounce this. A subscriber recently sent this to me and said that that Wheel of Time as well as this were their 2 favorite stories, series growing up, and this is, I believe, a bind-up of it. And so I'm really excited because if that was like the 2 greatest stories for this person growing up, and I'm experiencing Wheel of Time right now, I'm 6 books into it, then being able to experience something else that was also just as magical for someone else it actually sounds really awesome. The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. So I read The Nightingale in, I think, January of 2019, and I loved it, and I've been wanting to read more of her work, but I still haven't, and my friend, Heather, over at Bookables, she'll be linked in the description, she got 2 copies of this, and so she sent me one of hers, which was really nice, so I'm really excited because this is one that was recently published, and I really want to read. Historical fiction, if you didn't know. The Collected Stories of Joseph Roth. This is another classic translated work. I have been wanting to read more translated classics, but I buy almost all my books used, and my secondhand bookstore just doesn't really have a wide selection in that. So several of my subscribers have been sending me translated classics from their own countries, and this is one, so I'm very excited about that too. Oh, okay, All Systems Red by Martha Wells. This is a book that I have been wanting to read for maybe 2 years now. My friend Connor over at Connor O'Brien recommended it way long time ago and did a whole review on it, and it sounded so good, and I was so excited to read it, but my used bookstore has not had it for so long. And then a subscriber recently sent it to me, not even knowing that this book has been something I've been wanting to read for a long time, just because they liked it, so I'm gonna read it now. It's about a murder bot I think, that is sentient, and we all know I love that trope. And I think he has compassion and just really doesn't want to kill people, if I'm remembering it correctly. And it's supposed to be really cute. Half Bad was sent by a subscriber. Let's see, I don't actually know anything about this. Nathan is an abomination, a half-code, a threat, kept alive as a weapon to destroy the most fearsome witch of all time, his father, the only one with the power to save Nathan's life. I have heard people talk about this on BookTube like years ago, but it's never really been on my radar. But when I got it in the mail, quite a few people were excited, so I'm gonna have to give it a go. Ooh, Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. This is historical fiction. I don't read a lot of historical fiction, but I want to read more. And one of my subscribers sent this to me because it's one of her favorites, and that's awesome. So now I have a couple that I get to be reading in the winter. I feel like winter is perfect for historical fiction. Road. The Rage of Dragons. I still don't know who sent this to me. There was no note included and nobody messaged me afterwards to say, hey, that was my book. So thank you to whoever sent it to me. The Rage of Dragons is a book that I've had on my radar ever since Daniel, over at Daniel Green, I'll link his channel below, reviewed it and gave it a rave review. Really loved it, and I have been wanting to read it ever since. This is about a world where I think 1 in every 1,000 women can call down dragons or something like that. There's a lot of dragons in the world, and it's like this fierce, dark, gruesome world, and we're following a young man who doesn't want to be involved in all the war and the competition, and so he plans on intentionally getting injured and living a safe, married, quiet life until some bad things happen to some people he loves, and his grief transforms into anger, and he wants to kill everybody. And I want to read it. That's going to be like soon, really soon. The Prince and the Dressmaker, I think, is a graphic novel. Yep, it sure is. I don't know a ton about this. I know that this is about a prince who is a prince and lives his life, but then he also, actually what I do know about it might be a spoiler. He also likes making dresses at night when no one can see him. Kind of living a double life, realizing his personality. I've seen a few people talk about this, but not very many. I don't know a lot about this one. In Conquest Born, it says space opera in its best sense, a combination of high-stakes adventure with strong focus on ideas, characters, an intelligent reader can actually care about. I don't know a lot about this book, but I am recently getting into sci-fi, so... Ooh, The Night Circus. This is one that I have been recommended to read so many times. I've heard that this is about a circus that appears in the night, and the gates only open after night falls, but nobody really knows what the circus is, but we get to enter it. I really don't know a lot about it, but it sounds creepy and very interesting. I've heard this author has a very beautiful writing style, which I'm a pretty straightforward reader, so that could be hit or miss for me. But I'm actually reading another one of this author's books in January. Check out my TBR whenever that comes up to find out which one. So I'll probably read this one probably in like February, but I really want to read it. I've been wanting to read that one for a while. Rose Matter by Stephen King. I believe this is about a woman who is in an abusive marriage, so she runs away, but where she lands ends up being even more dangerous than where she ran from. And I don't know at all what that means I'm getting into, and with King, it could mean anything really, so we'll find out together. The Child Thief. Peter Pan is my favorite book of all time, and I've never read a Peter Pan retelling because I'm terrified that if I do, it will somehow taint Peter Pan by giving me a different idea or imagery of it. But this is a book that's been recommended a lot. It's apparently a very dark version of Peter Pan, which if you've read the original fairy tale, Peter Pan himself he's got some pretty dark moments, but this leans into it something fierce. And it sounds so interesting. It's probably the most interesting Peter Pan retelling I've ever heard of. Most interesting sounding one. And I want to read it. And I will read it. I'm just so hesitant because of my deep, deep love for Peter Pan. The Book Thief is, actually, I'm reading this in January. Spoiler for my TBR. This, I believe, starts off with death, telling us a story about some people that died. I know it's historical fiction, and I know that it is a rough read, but means a lot to a lot of people, and I'm excited to read it. Then we have Bridges of Clay, which actually was sent to me by my friend. Her channel will be linked down below as well, and she loves this even more than The Book Thief, but this has a lot of bad reviews, and she said that she kind of warned me about the things that tend to not work for people and that she agrees are not the best executed, but the story still means so much to her, and we have really similar reading taste, so I really want to try it because I pretty much just trust her recommendation all the time. Okay, next books are the next 4 Wheel of Time books. I've read 6, so these are 7, 8, 9, and 10. And this is The Slog. I'm holding in my hands The Slog, but they're all the shortest books of the series, so I'm really hoping that it'll be okay. I live in a fantasy world where clouds are made of cotton candy. I am queen of the realm, and websites are actually fun and easy to make.
Hey, say your lines!
Creating a website and it being fun and enjoyable may seem like a fantasy, but it's not. Squarespace actually makes it really fun. They have pre-made templates that you can start with and then change them, move them around, make it your own, and you can build a website fairly quickly and easily this way. You also have audio block features, so if you're a narrator, a filmmaker, a musician, you have the ability to put little sound bites of your podcast, whatever you're doing. And these audio blocks also have iTunes sharing, so it's just really easy to put your audio clips up. They also have social sharing, so you can have little spots where you can link your YouTube videos, your book blog, your Instagram, your Twitter, whatever. You can link it all right there on your website, and it also gives people the ability that they can share your content as well, which means that you get real-time campaign and website analytics from the source. And you get to find out what kind of content is driving traffic in and what's not working as well. I use Squarespace for my website. Corey uses his for his photography. It's a really easy to use website that's so functional and helpful, and I really recommend you check them out. Also, if you use the link in my description, you get a free trial, and when you're ready to launch your campaign, you get 10% off. So check them out, link in the description. The Calculating Stars is, I think, a young adult sci-fi, and I don't know a lot about it. A huge meteorite fell to the Earth and obliterated much of the east coast of the United States, including Washington, D.C. The ensuing climate cataclysm will soon render Earth inhospitable for humanity, as the last such meteorite did for the dinosaurs. Ooh, that's just a little bit of the description. Actually, I had a subscriber send me the audiobook on Audible a couple of months ago, and then a subscriber sent me the physical book, which is, ooh, that's the dream, to be able to flip back and forth between the audio and physical, so I'm so excited. The Silmarillion, which is amazing, and I'm actually reading it this December. As soon as I finish rereading The Lord of the Rings, I'll be rereading The Silmarillion. It's a whole bunch of extra world building and information about the history of Middle Earth, but it also has so many little stories in it that are so beautiful and heartbreaking, and I love it. And I didn't own a copy, but now I do, and it makes me so happy. Atlas Shrugged, which I think is it's like a dystopian. I actually don't know a lot about it, but I know that it's supposed to be, a lot of people say that it's a very, very interesting story told by an author who's very heavy-handed with their political opinions. I don't really know anything about it, honestly. A couple of very short little classic stories that the same person who sent me The Silmarillion sent me some of these, and I'm so excited. The Yellow Wallpaper, The Lottery, and A Modest Proposal. And these are just like little bitty classics that I can get through super fast, and a lot of people said these are incredible, so I'm excited. Isaac Asimov, this is a standalone of his. I'm going through Asimov's work, and I'm loving it because Asimov, oh my gosh, is an amazing, amazing storyteller, and his use of AIs is untouchable. This is another set that was sent to me recently by a subscriber. The Outstretched Shadow, Dragons of Autumn Twilight, and Acorna. These are all first books in fantasy series that the subscriber loved. So I have a couple of series to try out. Another little start to a series is Daughter of the Forest. These are fantasy series that I don't know anything about, so I can't really tell you anything about. But it's just stuff that people have loved and therefore sent to me. Fahrenheit 451, which is another classic that I've been planning to read for a long time. Rendezvous with Rama, which I've never heard of, but a couple of people were really excited when I got it. And Dragonflight, which is another classic, another fantasy that I hadn't heard of. And the last one in this haul for the stuff that my subscriber sent to me is Peter Pan in Scarlet, which when I opened, I said is another thing that I'm very hesitant about because Peter Pan retellings, they scare me. But the person that actually sent this to me then wrote me a message explaining that after J.M. Barrie passed away, this was written meant to be a sequel to Peter Pan, which is also terrifying to me. But he kind of gave me a little bit of the backstory of its origin and told me that with my passion and love for adoption, I might actually really like the direction that it goes in. So still scared, but a lot more optimistic. Now for the books that authors sent me recently. So if you're interested in checking out and supporting self-published authors, which you should be, here are a couple that I was sent recently and will be reading soon. Fieldsgate, which is just a little guy. Universe 101, which I believe is sci-fi. I've forgotten how to say this title again. The Oranyth? I know that's wrong. Death got to her, but fate has other plans. Red Velvet, which the author told me that it was a collection of poetry and short stories, and I don't read poetry, but I've been wanting to try it out, and so when he reached out to me, I was like, yeah, that's actually kind of perfect. Zero Sum, which is another sci-fi, I believe. You don't know what it is to be me, the drug that I am, the drug I will be, the pure ecstasy. Here, let me cook some up for me. It looked interesting. Warriors, Wizards, and the Salesman, and Graysons of Grimoire. The city of Grimoire is home to mages, wielders of marvelous and varied magic. They think they know all there is to know about the powers they wield, but when Caleb Grayson meets the mysterious Isabel, a young girl who can use magic in impossible ways, that knowledge is tested. Now I get to pick it all up. Oh yeah, and then real quick shout out to the unsolicited books that publishers sent me. I never know if I should show them, but people say they like when I do, so haha, here they are. I think thriller and maybe mystery. Here are a bunch of the books that I talked about in this video. I'd love to chat with you more about it in the comments. I post videos every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.